We are live. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Empower and Grow Her online TV series. So happy to be here with you today. I'm happy because today is Tuesday and I get a chance to reconnect, connect again with all of you beautiful people out there. Tonight I have a very, very special guest. All my guests are special, but this guest is very, very special because I met her through a community of women that I absolutely am in love with. And we had a chance to work with each other through a 30-day challenge. And now I'm here interviewing her, so I'm happy about that. My name is Alisa J. Green, and I'm interviewing Dr. Lacrecia Dangerfield. And like I said, I'm super, super duper excited. Okay, so if you haven't, I want you to share this video, spread the word. We're talking about boss status tonight. It is going down. Yeah. And before I start to have a conversation with Dr. Lacrecia, I want to just fill you in on who she is and what she's done and what she's doing. Dr. Lacrecia, I don't know if I told you, and I always say this during my shows, I hate reading bios because it says really absolutely nothing about who it is that you truly are at heart. But I'm going to read this bio anyway, and then you can really let the people know who you really are at heart. Okay. So Dr. Lacrecia Dangerfield is an emerging modern-day Harriet Tubman, liberator of leaders through her work as a counselor for professional coach, storyteller, truth seeker, and teller. She is also a soon-to-be published author of When Identity and Purpose Collide, # Boss Status Happens. I love that, by the way. It's set to be released in 2018. She's the founder of Reimprint Your Life Consulting, where she is a champion for women and counselors to get out of their own way, own their boss status, and lead a liberated life. She is dedicated to helping counselors and women leaders connect who they are to what they were created to do so they can impact and influence their community and the world. Dr. Lacrecia has been a leader and a speaker since childhood. Her first leadership and speaking experiences began in the church and have continued on today in her professional and community endeavors by holding leadership positions and speaking at local and national events. Her work speaks for itself. Her work and her doctoral program foster her passion for leadership through research on perceived leadership practices of mental health counselors and completion of the master's degree. After working in the public and private sector for over 25 years, woo for that, Dr. Lacrecia decided to leave captivity. She took the platinum cuffs off and to fully pursue liberation by becoming a full-time entrepreneur. And every day she's inspiring others to own their boss status by working with other counselors, therapists, and women leaders through counseling, coaching, and consulting. Ladies, give it up for Dr. Lacrecia Dangerfield. Welcome, Dr. Lacrecia Dangerfield. How are you? How are you today?
I am great. I'm awesome. And something else that the one thing that makes this real special about, we share the same birthday.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Yes, we do. Did I tell you happy birthday? I know I did, right?
You did.
Because I was about to say, oh God, because I have a few friends that have the same birthday. Like 1, 2, it's about 5 of my friends that have the same birthdays, which I think is awesome, and that's always
a special day.
I know, but it's always for me kind of like, even though we're on different journeys, it kind of like gives it. I can gauge like, okay, we have some of the same qualities, we're good people. And so I like to gauge like that. Yeah, I love that we have the same birthday. Did you enjoy your birthday?
I did. I had a great one.
I did too. I turned 50. I'm so thankful and grateful to be here.
You're part of the 50 club, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and life is wonderful. I'm loving it. Okay, so let's get down to business, Dr. Lacrecia. Okay, so emerging modern day Harriet Tubman, liberator of leaders. Why are you a liberator of leaders?
Because for my own journey and plus what I've seen a lot of leaders that I've seen individuals that are leaders, but they are held in captivity. Their mindset keeps them, even though they're leaders, their mindset keeps them in captivity. Even their work status or their work conditions, they are like, I'm stuck, I can't move. And I'm like, okay, so you got to get out of this. You have to move forward. You can't stay hidden. So come on, let's take this path and let's get out here and show the world what is inside of you and what's out there for everybody to see. And it's just like, hey, I was tired of doing it alone, but also I could see the potential in so many people, and they were holding themselves in captivity. So
Mm,
I'm like, okay, hey, you need to be liberated, and how can I help you be liberated?
right, right. Dr. Lucretia, what I'm a working entrepreneur, and I get what you're saying about, us being, we still having that mindset of feeling
Hmm.
that way. Why do you think that we really, really feel stuck in that space when we're trying to, move in another space? Why do we get like that?
Because comfortable, we're
Yeah.
comfortable. I remember before I made the transition out that I couldn't complain about it really being all that bad.
Hmm.
And I was like, it's a good setup. I'm comfortable. Why leave what's comfortable? And
Right.
then so I have found that with so many other people and fear. Fear keeps us stuck so many times. It's because, hey, when you're used to having that paycheck every other Friday deposited in your account, and when you have to depend upon yourself,
Yes.
like one account I was talking to last week, she said, when you are your own revenue, she said it changes the way you look at things. And
It does.
so I believe we stay stuck because for my own journey, like I said, it was comfortable and fear.
Right. 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 And so we stay comfort. Well, the comfortability keeps us stuck, and then from that point, we just don't want to move forward because we get used to our little, our little paychecks,
Hmm.
and then that interferes with our purpose, and that's what I want to. My next question to get to purpose. So okay, so you're writing a book that's due out in 2018, and it's called "When Identity and Purpose Collide." Hashtag boss status happens. What happens when and I really wanted to save that question for later, but I just can't help it. So what happens? Tell us what happens when identity and purpose collide.
When you know who you are and when you know what you were created to do, and when they both come together, you can't help but to be a boss.
Mm,
You can't help to own who you are. You can't help but to share with other people who you are and what you do. And you just get out there and you really start serving other people. So when I look at boss status, it really stands for be who you are and own it, operate in purpose, show up and share your story, and show up and serve other people. So when they both hit, and when I started really living from the true place of who I was, and also operating in my purpose,
mhm.
things just start flowing, and I could be more confident about who I who I am. I became very confident about what I do,
Yes, yes.
and that's just what happens when. And one day I was talking to someone, and the analogy came to me. What happens when you have two cars that are going in the same, they're coming towards each other on the same road,
Yes.
and one is identity, one is purpose.
Right,
When they collide, they almost become one,
right.
where you can't really tell the difference between the two.
Hmm.
So they become almost like one automobile. And that's who we are when our identity and our purpose, we become like one force.
Right. Right. Okay, so what if we don't know who we are and we're trying to find our purpose?
Hmm.
What happens when that collision happens? When we're searching for truth, we're searching for purpose, we're searching for who it is that we are.
Hmm.
Because the way that I'm reading this, when identity and purpose collide, I'm thinking that there's a process that happens prior to. We have to get to know who we are. We have to get
Hmm.
there first, and then
Yeah.
we have to, discover what our purpose is. What is that process like, for you, when prior to you coming to when identity and purpose collide? What was that process specifically to you?
Yeah. The process for me was asking the question.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, there's two questions that I probably have always asked myself, growing up as an adult was my first question was, who am I? I asked the question. I journal. I would read books. I take assessments. And
Mm-hmm.
once I started taking looking at all that information, like for me, Myers Briggs, which is 16 personalities, getting my personality type. I started looking at my life path number. I looked even at my zodiac sign.
Mm-hmm.
I started doing different assessments, and I was journaling and I was writing, and then I would ask people questions. I was like, "Well, when you connect with me, what do you see? Who do you see?" And people would start telling me things, and then and number one, and I can't forget this, I would pray. I pray. I'm like, okay, God, who am I? Who did you create me to be? And things just start coming together, and I started looking at themes and the work that I was doing in the assessments, and it started saying certain things, and I was like, that is me. That's
Yeah.
who I am. That's who I present that's who I want to be. So I started walking in it on a
Mhm.
day-to-day basis. I would, show up as who I am, because people be like, it's something different. I'm like, no, really, I'm just really showing up as who I am.
Mhm.
And then when it came to finding my purpose, that was another question I was asking myself. And that really started before I transitioned into the counseling arena. I was in the business arena doing some work, and I started asking the question to God. I was like, what did you create me to do? And when I started asking the questions, he started putting people in my path.
Yes.
And one day, this lady, she said, "Are you in school?" And I said, "No, I'm not going back to school." Because I just finished my bachelor's. I'm like, "Oh no, I'm not going back to school." She said, She said, "I thought you were in school." So then, the funny thing is, when I took psychology in undergrad, I hated it.
Really?
I hated it.
Get that from you. That you
I
hated.
was like, this is not me. This is boring. I don't understand this whole thing. But I I was listening, and when you ask, when you're asking God, you have to listen.
Mhm.
So one day I was sitting at home and I was flipping through this catalog, and it was this psychology class that they were offering at the community college.
Mhm.
And it was just like, take it. I took it. And in that class, this young man said he was going to go to this college, this university here, and get his master's in counseling. And I knew then that that's what I was supposed to do. So I applied. It was like the easiest process. The easiest going through, and I just started studying counseling, and I was like, this is different from psychology. And
Mhm.
it took me a minute to realize what the difference was. In psychology, it looks at sometimes it looks at the pathology of people, but I have always wanted to look at the wellness and the self actualization of people. I've always wanted to help people be the best that they could be.
Mhm.
So going through that, looking at life experiences, my own experiences, through my work. And I started thinking about what was it that I used to do when was growing up. What would people come to me? And people would always come to me and talk, and I would listen, and I would give them advice.
And I,
Now, and I guess it worked because nobody has ever come back and said, you know what you told me was wrong. I would,
Mhm.
it was just something in like innately in me and my gifting. And
Right.
so just really, like I said, getting quiet and listening and looking at your life experiences because there's some themes
Yes, it
in
is.
your life experiences that kind of show you what your purpose is.
Right.
And some people think that purpose is one thing, but purpose is fluid, it's organic. It can look one way in one season of your life and look a totally different way in the next season, but that's still your purpose because you have an assignment here
Yes.
while you're here on earth, and your assignment is connected to you showing up, doing what you were created to do.
You are, oh my God, you OMG. So, okay. Woo! So, yes, you are absolutely right. And it's so funny because I had that same process when I was trying to discover who it is that I was and what I was supposed to be doing and questioning and asking God and,
Mm-hmm.
noticing these different people showing up in my life. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was that whole journey. I experienced the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the asking the questions and asking your loved ones, what can you see me doing?
Mm-hmm.
Or even asking, your siblings or your parents, what kind of
Mm-hmm.
kid was I? Those are very
Yep.
important questions when you're looking for or trying to figure out what your purpose is
Yes.
and what you're passionate about and who it is that you really are. And then to go through the different Myers Briggs and even strength finders to
Yes,
identify
that's another one.
weaknesses. Yeah. I mean, yes. And so this is how I winded up in the space that I was in outside of what I do, during the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that if more women would try that, they wouldn't struggle with trying to figure out what it is that they're supposed to be doing. Just ask
Right.
the question. Just
Yes.
ask the question. That is so, so true, Dr. Lacrecia. Wow. And then people do start to tell you things, and then you do start to realize that, your voice means something. People come to you
Mm-hmm.
and look to you for guidance in certain areas.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, so I want to talk about the difference between counseling, coaching, and consulting
Okay.
because you've done work counseling. Are you still counseling? Yes,
I
right.
can't actually I counsel counselors.
I didn't hear you. What you say?
I counsel counselors.
Okay, yeah. Oh, that's good. That's good right there. Okay. And so, what is that process like? Counseling, coaching, and what else did I say?
Consult.
Counseling, coaching, and consulting.
Okay, for me, what counseling looks like is when a person comes to me and they're having some what I consider life transitions or some they've been impacted by some things that happened in their past
Hmm.
that's keeping them stuck.
Hmm.
And the way I do it, it is just having a conversation.
Hmm.
We're sitting there having a conversation. I ask questions. You answer the questions. We form goals, which it looks a little bit like coaching, but
Hmm.
usually with counseling kind of digs more in some theoretical orientation, kind of digs back into your past to see how you got to your present.
Right.
And then with coaching is that next step is like right here, I'm in my present.
Hmm.
How do I get to my future?
Right.
So how can I set goals to get to my future and almost serving as a cheerleader,
Right.
holding the person accountable, asking them about their goals and say, what have you done? Helping them to brainstorm
Hmm.
about what they want to do, how they want to move forward, how they want to get out of the place. And then consulting is actually, for me, is where I go into businesses and help them do leadership development, where I help them do some program development. So they're really asking for my expertise.
Right.
And when I go in, I'm offering them my expertise.
Yes, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, okay. uh, Reimprint your life consulting. Reimprint your life consulting. Can you share with us what that is about? Because you're the founder of it. So I'm being nosy. I want to know what is this about and
Okay.
how you champion for women and counselors.
Okay. Oh, Reimprint Your Life is that's my Reimprint Your Life Consulting is my business, and it what falls up under the umbrella is my counseling, my coaching, and my consulting. But what Reimprint Your Life really how it started was really out of a conversation with someone about the imprints, what we may call labels,
Right.
things, experiences that we've had that have formed the way that we see life.
Mm-hmm.
That it may not be going exactly the way we want it to go. So we have to re-imprint those. We have to take those, either take those imprints off. So they're almost like brands or labels. And we have to take them off and reframe them. So, Reimprint Your Life is a company where I help women to take out those old labels, take off the way that they've seen life, if life is not going the way that they want it to go, and re-imprint it with a new way of living. So, really living the way that God intended her as a counselor, as a leader, intended her to be how God really intended for life to be, and just bringing all that together and just really living what I consider a life of freedom and liberation.
Yeah. I'm all for a life of freedom. I'm all for I think that when we start to live that life of freedom, there are no holds barred. Like you
Right,
feel like you can really do anything that you set your mind to do. I feel like when a lot of us don't even know that we don't have that freedom. You know, we don't even we
right.
could because we're just functioning day to day, and
Yes,
we're not really realizing that freedom looks like something. Freedom looks like something that you've never seen before.
yes,
Freedom really does. It looks like something that you've never seen before. It feels like something that you've never felt before.
yes.
I know for a fact for me, when I started um, feeling free and experiencing freedom, my whole mindset changed.
Yes,
And when my mindset started to change, I started moving a little different, started doing things
mm-hmm.
different, started seeing different. I started speaking
Yes,
different. I started to I started to act a little different, you know,
yes.
because um, listen, life is really about freedom. Okay, so before I start going all over the place, it's 7:23, and we have some guests here. Aisha Canty, she says, "How do you get to a life of freedom?" I'm going to just put that up there. How do you get to a life of freedom? So, Dr. Lacrecia, I'm just going to come out and ask you, how do we get to a life of freedom?
Really getting to a life of freedom is really getting to know who you are,
Hmm.
and is and like I'll say is really being you and owning it.
Right.
On every aspect of who you are. It may be good, it may be bad, but you have to know. You have to look at it and say, okay, this is where I am. There's some changes that I might want to make about myself, but you know what? I'm okay with where I am at this moment. Doesn't mean you have to stay there.
Hmm.
It means that you have acknowledged where you are and you accept. You're like, okay, I'm here. And then when you start really operating in your gifting
Hmm.
and what you've been gifted with, then you you get this sense of freedom because you're flowing in who you are and what you were intended to be and what you were intended to do. And it's something about it that it's just like I think like you said, Alicia, it's like you start walking different, you start talking different, you start seeing things different. It's just like this confidence about yourself and what you're doing that you're like, okay, hey, I'm free. I've taken, some of these chains have been lifted. I'm no longer in captivity.
Yes.
because that's what happens is like a lot of times that we're in captivity by what the world thinks or what the world says we're supposed to be, how we're supposed to look, how we're supposed to act,
Mm-hmm.
and
The expectation
you have these
of families.
expectations, yes, and
Mm-hmm.
you're bound.
Yeah.
And when you start taking those off and really experiencing life from the truest essence of who you are, like it's just this feeling of it's just like wow.
But there's work that has to be done
It's a
according to you.
process, yes,
It's a process. It's not easy because then you're gonna bump up against some walls. You're gonna meet some resistance. You're
yes,
gonna experience a whole lot of different things that you are do not want to experience. But
yes,
uh, trust trust the process and
yes,
trust and understand that freedom comes with a cost. So,
yes.
um, Angie, hi Angie. Angie says, "Is
Hey,
freedom
Angie.
free, or are there sacrifices you have to make?" Dr.
Oh,
Lucretia.
there are sacrifices that you have to make. You may lose some friends. When you may lose some family members that are not understanding the process that you're going through. But I'll tell you, it's worth it. And when you become a free individual, I will be on. I could be honest to say that you may be. It's lonely out there at times,
Let's get
but
lonely.
it's so worth it because you find your tribe. There are other people out there experiencing what you're experiencing, and they're telling their story. You telling your story. Y'all connect, and then you have a more expanded tribe.
Yeah, that's true. Dr. Lucretia, what does it feel like to really lead and be a leader, to really embrace that? What does that feel like?
Uh, Freedom. That's exactly. It feels like freedom. Being a leader, it come and being a leader comes at a cost
Yes.
because everyone is not going to like that you stepped up to be a leader. But we all are leaders in our own right.
That was my next question.
There are, regardless of where you are, you're leading somebody.
Right.
Uh, like think about it. If some people say, "Well, I'm just a stay-at-home mom," or "I'm just a mother," you're leading
Mm,
your children. You're leading your family. You are a leader. A leader is not really about position. Leader is about service.
yes. 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 So for those of you that are listening right now, hashtag I am a born leader, because and it's funny
Yes,
too because I had I think we are all born leaders, and I think that
yes.
sometimes we get caught up in titles like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, if I don't have manager or supervisor
Supervisor.
or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, then I'm not. No, you are a leader. And
Yes,
we have this discussion, at work. Some of my supervisors think that, because, you are of a lower rank that you're not a leader. No, women are natural born leaders because we are
yes,
leading someone. Like you said, we lead the house every day, every day.
yes,
Well,
yes,
while we telling someone what they have to do, we're leading. We are
yes,
leading. Now, I want to ask you this question. So, okay, so there are different types of leaders, different types of leaders.
yes.
So, what's the difference to you between from leading from behind to leading within? Well, leading from behind or leading within.
Leading within is when you are owning who you are, and it comes internal. It's your internal who you are. You're a self leader. You're getting to know who you are. You know who you are as a leader and how you lead. You really learn your leadership style. And
Mm-hmm.
then you said leading from behind is when you're able to follow.
Hmm.
It's not that you're hidden and you're not leading. It is that you're able to follow another leader and help support their vision.
Right. Right. Because, you know, being a leader, you can. It gets lonely, like you said, but you can't do it by yourself. You have to
No.
have that support. Leading is not about doing it by yourself. Leading is about having people with you.
Yes.
And one thing about leadership that I've experienced is I love being a leader and I love working with leaders. And what I love
Mm-hmm.
about working with leaders is the leaders that are not afraid to take the lead. The leaders
Yes.
that are not afraid to say, what do you think about that? Those type of leaders, the leader that's going to respect your opinion, respect your process, and know
Yes.
that, listen, we set out to do this. We're going to do this, 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 and that. Well, what input do you have? Okay, let's do that. Let's see how
Mm-hmm.
that works. Those
They
are
invite
really,
you to the process.
yes, yes,
And they're
yes.
not afraid to invite
Exactly.
you.
Because it takes a certain level of courage. It
Yes.
takes a certain level of courage to do it. And I think that, some leaders, don't always possess the courage, but they do it anyway.
Anyway, yes.
Yeah, they do it
It can
anyway.
be scary
Yeah, it can be very
when you
scary.
have people following you.
So it's 7:31. So I want to give a shout out to Aisha, Angie, Quenisha, and Madeline, and all the other people that are on the replay. We're live here with Lacrecia Dangerfield. She is the emerging modern day Harriet Tubman and the liberator of leaders as a counselor, as an educator, as a coach, as a woman in business. And I'm going to tell you, she is a force to be reckoned with. If you have any questions, put the questions in the comment. We talked about freedom. We're talking about the difference between coaching, counseling, and consulting. We're talking about a lot of different things. We're talking about leaders, being women leaders. So my next question is, okay, so we know your book is being released in 2018, When Identity and Purpose Collide, which I cannot wait. Please, Dr. Lacrecia, please. I can't wait to get this book. But my next question is, what is next for you? What is next coming down the road? What's next?
Well, what is next outside of this first book? Actually, I'm starting some research on single women who are not yet married and who do not have kids,
Ooh, why?
because that's my journey. And and I have found, and I'm finding, I'm meeting more and more women that fall in that category. And we are a group of individuals that don't get, that are invisible.
Hmm.
Our, you see things about single parenting. You see, they'll say single plus something. But
Right.
when you are a single woman, especially once you hit over 50, you not yet married, have never been married, and
Hmm.
do not have kids, it's our society treats you a little different at times. Almost sometimes it's like, what's wrong with you?
You know what? You know what? You're absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
You're absolutely right. And they do it to men too. When a woman finds out that
Yes.
a man doesn't have kids and he's of a certain age, you're like,
Like, what's wrong with you?
what's wrong? Yeah. No, maybe this person doesn't want to have children, or maybe this
Hmm.
person doesn't want to be married. So yeah. So okay, so you've already started the research?
I'm actually kicking off the research in December.
Oh, I cannot wait. I cannot wait.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So again, we're here with Dr. Lacrecia Dangerfield, coach, storyteller, um, force to be reckoned with. Dr. Lacrecia.
Yes.
So I asked you a whole bunch of questions. And I read your bio, okay? And
Hmm.
I'm sorry, my instant just went out. I read your bio, and you've done a lot of things. You have a lot of titles behind your name. What I want to know is, who are you.
Ooh.
And the reason why I'm asking is because, and I do it myself, we all do it. When someone asks, "Who are you?" the first thing we say is, "Oh, I'm a mother, I'm a this, I'm a that." Who is Dr. Lacrecia, and how important is it for us to know? I always have a second question coming behind it. How are we? What's the best way to describe who we are outside of our titles?
Hmm. It who I can answer this. I am a spiritual being having a human experience. That is, it's a quote out there, and I love that quote because at the essence, at the core of who I am is my spirit, my spirituality, my spirit of being a woman, my spirit of just being a leader, of being a counselor, all of that. That's who I am.
Mm-hmm.
At the core of me, it plays out in my personality. It plays out in the way I talk. It just plays out in how I show up. So it's just like the essence of who I am. My spirituality and being a spiritual being is like that's it. And your second question was, why is it important
Yeah. Why is it important for us to really, when we describe who we are,
outside
why
of our
is it
life?
more important to say, not to say what you said, but in a different way, because everyone describes themselves differently.
Hmm.
But how can we get away from saying, "Oh, I'm a mother, I'm a daughter," because at the end of the day, we that's obvious. Those
Hmm.
things, those are obvious things. So do we say those things because we really can't get to the core of really describing who it is that we are? Or do we say those things because that's what who we really think we are?
My thoughts on it twofold. One is because we've taken on the labels of what society
Right,
has labeled. When you say, "Who are you?" people automatically go to what they do.
right.
It's hard to define a being.
Hmm.
I'm being this. I'm a human being.
Right,
So, trying to put words around it, and because as women, as human beings, we're forever changing. It's not stagnant.
right.
We're always growing. We're always evolving. So how do you explain to someone, "I'm an evolving being"? They'll be like, "Huh? What does that mean?"
I'm growing. I'm
I'm
stretching.
growing. Right. And so being able to say it and not be, not really worrying about what somebody else is going to say or question you. It's just being able to say, "I am a growing being. I am a woman. I am, I'm this spiritual being just enjoying life, flowing with life."
Right, right. I love that. I love how you answer that. And the reason why I asked that, like I said before, because I even do it myself sometimes, and I know a lot
Hmm.
of women that describe themselves by what they do,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
that's not who we really are. Just like a
Right.
bio, like our bios are, identifies our accomplishments and things like that. But I think that we're more than just that right there. You
Because
know.
I didn't want to send you my bio.
I know you didn't, but that's
And
okay.
I started to say, "You know what? I don't have one."
But you know what? That would have been fine too, because I would have still asked you, "Who are you?"
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been fine. Um, so purpose. I want to go back to purpose again.
Hmm.
When we discover our purpose, does that question come up? Like, what are we put on this earth to do?
Yes, I believe that. I believe that we are God's handprint and footprint in the earth. that He's assigned us something because we are part of His DNA,
Yes.
that it has to show up in the earth. So when you're saying, what am I put on this earth to do? That really is what your purpose is. I think Rick Warren is probably the one that got it when he did Purpose Driven Life.
Your life, yeah, yeah, yeah. So when we get to that question, when we get to the question, what do we wait for the answer? Does it show up?
I say yes and no. The answer will show up, but you have to be active. It's
Yeah.
not just gonna fall. It's just not gonna just fall out the air and say, "Ta-da! I'm here."
Look, I didn't want to be the one to say. I didn't want to be the one to say it, but yes, you're absolutely right. Yes.
Yeah, you have to put action to it. You try certain things, you do certain things, and I believe it just kind of starts falling out. The past starts uh, uncovering and revealing itself.
It does. It absolutely does. It absolutely does. So you're making an imprint. Your imprint is your book. Your imprint is the work that you do. You're serving women. You're serving leaders. Um, how much more can you impact, the world by your work?
Hmm. I look at it this way: is uh, I don't think I do enough
Hmm.
because I allow at times the chatter and the fear to keep me stuck. So I would say I have a lot more to do through my work as a counselor, especially because I believe I was called to help other counselors, is that the work that I do with counselors to help counselors on their boss status means that it's going to ripple out into the community and have more impact because as I work and empower them, they're going to do work that's going to go out and empower other people, and it's just going to have a ripple effect.
Hmm. Hmm. My next question to you is why would counselors need to be counseled? As with anyone, why would counselors need to be counseled? Because I mean, I already know what you're gonna say, but I just want the audience. I want the audience to know and understand how important it is that when you're serving, you know what it is that you need for
Yeah,
yourself. Because I'm looking at it as self care.
it
That's how
is.
I'm looking at it.
It
Yes.
is. You just said it. Counselors are afforded the opportunity to sit in spaces with individuals that have been impacted by some major uh, some trauma, because I think we all have experienced some kind of trauma.
Hmm.
And so we sit in the space with individuals that unpack and unload in our space. Who's doing this for the counselor? Have to take care of yourself because, as they say, the mother's test. If when the air mask fall down, you put it over your face first
Hmm.
before you put it on your child face. And so that's the same with a counselor. A counselor has to put counseling on their face. They have to do their own work, do self awareness, because things show up. And being able to do it themselves, to take care of themselves, because if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anybody else.
Exactly, exactly, and that's what I was creeping up to, or approaching how important it is for self care, even if you're not in the counseling space, even if you're not in a coaching space. Um, Self care is very, very important, and that's one of
Yes,
the things that I teach women is how important it is to take care of yourself.
yes.
I'm sorry.
And it's not
You
selfish.
can't- no, oh, definitely not.
No.
You can't be of any service. You can't be good to anyone unless you're caring for yourself.
Right.
That's just, you can't be nobody's lover if you ain't nobody, if you ain't somebody's friend.
That's
So
it.
you can't love on somebody else if you're not loving on yourself. That's
That's
not
it.
love. I think that there are a couple of movements going on right now, and it's very important that we are a part of those movements. And one of the movements is the self care movement,
Yes.
empowerment movement, and the sisterhood movement.
Yes.
And these movements are important because it's time. It's time for a healing
Hmm.
movement, which is part
Yes.
of self care. It's time, and when we start coming together and we start making things happen like that,
Hmm.
nothing can stop us.
Stop us.
So
Yes.
self care is very, very important. So
Yes.
when it comes to self care, when it comes to us doing what it is that we're supposed to be doing for ourselves, what else do we need to step into that, or to muster up the courage to do it? Because society, again,
Hmm.
have a lot of us thinking, or have mothers thinking, or working women thinking that, you know, it's all about our children. It's all about, how
Hmm.
do we muster up the courage just to say no?
Mm.
How do we
That
do
is
that?
that is boundary, and also understanding that no is a complete sentence,
Hmm.
and being able to take care of yourself by saying no, because you can best believe the person that's asking you to do something, if you were to ask them to do something similar or something, it wouldn't be hard for them to say no if it was not a priority to them. So making ourselves priorities is not selfishness. It's about really taking care of yourself so that you can be of service to somebody else.
Hmm. Hmm. Exactly, exactly. What are some of the self care practices that you have, Dr. Lucretia?
Uh, Prayer and meditation are my top. But for me, a 15-minute nap does me good. And yesterday, actually, I received an article and it talked about the power of the 15-minute nap. I said, I knew I was on to something.
Hmm.
But that recharges me. But then I'm a reader.
Right.
So I read, I plan vacation.
Hmm.
I know that I have to take care of myself. And my other piece is I have a therapist. I have a therapist. I go to therapy because
Yes.
I have to have somebody to talk to about all this stuff that goes on
Yeah.
inside of Dr. Lacrecia, and to even really help to manage the things that counselors bring to my space.
Right. Right. I was going to ask you that next too, as far as that. This is energy work.
Mhm.
Being in business, everyday life is energy work.
Yes.
Encounter certain energies, and I know for a fact that when we are serving, we are taking on
Hmm.
energy, and so it's important for that self care. Even after I do my shows, I like to have at least like 10 to 15 minutes so I can just
Yes.
sit in it. I can, reflect and just do what I need to do for myself. I can drink my water, make me some tea, have a glass of wine, and just sit
Hmm.
and just write, because it takes a certain level of energy to do this. And I think that
Yes.
people realize that even in business, you don't know what people carry as far as their energies are concerned, and sometimes
Hmm.
it can attach to you. So that is
Yes.
very important. One of my self care practices is once a month I go check into a hotel. I tell my kids to leave me the hell alone. Don't call me, not unless my mother and father call them. And I'm taking
That's
my
good.
books, my laptop, my candles. So I take a spiritual bath. I do all types
Oh,
of things in order
that's
for me
great.
to really, yeah, in order for me to really like, like release some things and
Hmm.
just reflect, so I can just renew myself and emerge as a better person after that.
Yeah.
That's my self-care practice. So it is 7:49, and we're here live with Dr. Lacrecia Dangerfield. She is the author of When Identity and Purpose Collide, and that book is due out in 2018. Dr. Lacrecia, can you tell us where everyone can find you if they want to use your services, if they want to talk to you, and if they want to ask any questions? Can you tell us where they can find you?
Yes, I'm on Facebook. It's Facebook, and then it's backslash Lacrecia dot Dangerfield. That's my page. You can like my page, and every day I post empowerment things. I share articles that I find interesting that will empower you and help you to live a better life.
Mm-hmm.
On Instagram, I'm at Dr. Lacrecia LPC. On Twitter, the same handle at Dr. Lacrecia LPC. And then my website is www.reimprintyourlife.com.
Reimprint. I'm typing it out in your life. I love that. Reimprintyurlife.com.
Thank
So there
you.
you have it, Dr. Lacrecia. You can find her here. You can find her on Facebook. You can find her on Twitter. You can find her on Instagram. And one more question. No, not one more. I got about three more questions.
Okay.
Three more questions. So, oh, I'm so sorry. Okay. Therapy. How important is it for us, even though we just spoke about self-care and we talked about our practices, how important is it for us as women to get counsel or go to therapy?
It is very important. And I'm not saying that because I'm a counselor or a therapist. I have found that the experience of having someone that's non-biased, non-judgmental, don't know you, are
Mm-hmm.
held by law that they can't tell what you talk about.
Mm-hmm.
It is so important to have that person. You may say, "Yeah, I do therapy with my girlfriends," but it's some things that you don't tell your girlfriends, and you know it.
Yeah.
You know it's some things you don't tell her. But
Yeah.
having somebody that's not gonna look at you sideways, not going to judge you, and most definitely not gonna tell anybody. Um, that's what it is. It's so people don't understand the value of therapy until you go into therapy and you sit there and experience it. It's
Mm,
priceless.
mm, that's true. Okay, so I've been missing my comments here. Aisha Canty said, "How do you block negative energy?" We gonna go to the questions now.
Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry, I was missing it. I see I have all these questions. How do we block negative energy?
Mine is really calling it out. Call if I sense that it is negative, I will call it out and start speaking positivity into the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Because some people will just carry negative energy, and you have to be able to spot it. And staying prayed up and in my own spiritual space
Mm-hmm.
helps me to really guard around that at times.
Mm-hmm.
And another piece of me, if you're draining, I'm gonna have to disconnect myself from you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So Aisha, there you have it. Stay prayed up. Stay away from people that suck the energy, suck the life out of you, and keep it moving.
Because if you leave somebody and you feel drained after you've been with them, yeah, that's a sign. Yeah,
Yeah, pray for you to go.
yeah,
So Quenisha says, I agree 100% self-care is very
yes.
important. Yes, it is. Angie says, I find when folks see you as a leader, they fail to recognize that we need support as well.
Oh, that is
That
so
is
true.
so true. Yeah.
That is
What are
so
your thoughts
true.
on that, Dr. Lucretia?
Yes, I so agree because they say, "Oh, the leader doesn't need support." Yes, we do, but something as leaders, we have to be willing to ask for it. If
Yeah.
you need support, you need to ask for it. If you need some downtime or someone to talk to, ask.
Yeah. That's very, very important. And I think that there's a certain level of pride from some of us that we are so, we just don't like to ask. I'll tell you, for filling up my calendar the next year in 2018 to interview more women, I asked. And I got
Yeah,
over 100 responses, and I'm
that
happy
is
about
awesome.
it. So it's
Yes,
good to ask. It's
yeah,
good to ask. Yeah. And be prepared for no.
yes.
No,
It's
you
okay.
can get a million no's, but that one yes is going to be like the heavens open up for you. So
Yes,
ask, be prepared for no, and just move on.
yes.
You get practice by asking. Okay, so Madeline Perez says, when trying to be so strong, when can you be not as strong and not take judgment for it? Strong is all I know, but sometimes I want to be weak, but I find no one to be there for me. What do you do, and how do you handle this?
Well, for me, I'll tell you one of the best, one of a very good book, and I'm trying to think of the name of it. It's not Daring Greatly, but it's the other book by Brene Brown. But it's
Is it oh,
uh,
does it have something to do with courage? No. That was her first book,
that
right?
was her first book was something about I thought it was me. It was dealing with perfection. But her next book,
Yeah,
oh, and
perfectly.
I can see it. I can see the front of it. I can't think of. But her book it talks about vulnerability,
Yes.
and you can check out even some of her TED talks on the power of vulnerability. But she helps you. She talks about the world has told us being vulnerable is a weakness.
Hmm.
Actually, vulnerability is a strength.
Yes, it is.
And being willing to ask for the help that you need and the support you need when you know that you are feeling weak, it really helps you to be stronger in who you are
Yes.
because you're willing to put yourself out there and say, hey, I really need some help on this. And one thing that I suggest as women, you should have an inner circle. And
Oh,
you need to have 3 to 5 women that, all right, it could be a man, and men, but in your corner that when you need to fall apart, they will let you fall apart, but they will not let you stay there.
oh God. Say it again, Dr. Lucretia.
They will, like, like, girl, you got 10 minutes to fall apart,
It's gonna be quiet.
but after those 10 minutes, we're going to get up, you're
Oh,
going to wipe your face off, and we're going to hit this head on, and we're going to do what we need to do to get this taken care of.
yes. Oh God. Oh, okay. Yeah. Angie says, Amen. Felicia Way. Hi, Fee. She says, and to accept support when it's offered.
That's
Yes.
so
That's
true.
another thing that we have a problem with, Dr. Lucretia. You know,
Accepted it.
oh, if somebody hold the door for, oh, you don't have to do it. If
Uh,
somebody give you a compliment, oh, what? No,
You start
accept.
saying thank you.
Yes,
Yes,
learn how to say thank you. Accept the
yes.
support. If I'm saying, girl, how can I help you? Oh, I don't need no help. Yes, you
You
do. You
do.
do need help.
Because usually when somebody says, how can they see you falling apart or that you about to drop everything, they like, let me help her save herself.
Yes, yes, yes. Aisha says, Amen. So if you have any more questions, put the questions in the comment because we're coming up on the hour. Oh God, and this has been so good. I want y'all to know that freedom comes with a cost, and freedom is a process, and you have to work towards it. You have to want
Yes.
it, and you're gonna feel some pain, just like having a working, exercising, and your muscles burn. It's
Mm-hmm.
gonna hurt, but the outcome is gonna be beautiful. So if you want freedom, just know that you have to work towards it, and you have to understand that it's going to hurt. It's going to cost, and it's going to hurt, but
But it's worth it.
worth it. It's so worth it. It's so worth it. So if you have any more questions, put the questions in the comment. I hope you guys got all your nuggets from Dr. Lacrecia because she dropped it today. And she is pulling us through this underground railroad, baby. That's what I love about her. And I'm just so thankful and grateful that she's here. Make sure you visit her on Facebook, Instagram, and you said Twitter, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And her website is www.reimpprintyourlife.com. Make sure you get that book, When Identity and Purpose Collide in 2018. Make sure you keep in touch with her. I'm waiting to see hashtag if you know about that boss status, if you understand what that boss status is, hashtag that. Hashtag we are born leaders if you know that you're a leader. And let's see, Dr. Lacrecia, if anyone else has more questions, because this thing can be tricky sometimes. Okay. Does anyone have any more questions? Let's see. Dr. Lucretia. Okay, so here's my question. Here's my last question.
Yes, ma'am.
Your last day on earth. Your mission is to save the entire world. But you gotta go. What is that one message that you would share in order to go and to save the entire world?
Now that's a question. Wow. Oh, because I am such a spiritual person, my message would start off with most definitely connect to whomever you consider your higher power and connect to that source and be who that source created you to be. You know, stop playing, get it done. And fear is just a mindset. Faith is the way we live our lives.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't ask you to repeat it because I just have to absorb that. Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Wow. It's beautiful. I love doing this. I love talking to my friends. I love talking to women, and I love hearing the messages. I get just such a rise. You know, the hairs on my arm stand up every time I ask the question. I ask it in different ways, and it's like some answers are like breathtaking. It leaves me speechless because that message can resonate with women right now. It's not about, you having to leave and, it is about millions of people. It is.
Yeah, it is.
But it's just so powerful. And God, it just makes me feel good. It makes me feel so good.
I
Woo!
want to tell you thank you for operating in your gifting and being in purpose.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for showing up and being the leader that you are and opening up the doors and allowing me to shine as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
This was Angie said this is a great show. It really.
Thanks, Angie.
Hi, Angie. I miss you, my Sankofa sister. Yes. Oh, God, Dr. Lucretia. I'm so thankful. And you know what? I have been stalking you a little bit. I was like, answering me back. I wanted to interview you a couple of months ago, but you're here now, so that's what matters.
It was now. It was for now.
Yeah, that's what matters. Oh God. Yeah, oh God, this is so beautiful. So beautiful. So it is 8:03. I'm closing out. Dr. Lucretia, I want to thank you again. I hope that you will come back in 2018. I have a awesome lineup of women next year. Aisha said, thank you, ladies. Angie said, great show. Angie has hashtag I am a leader. For those of you that are on the replay, be sure to connect with Dr. Lacrecia. Be sure to get her book. Here's her website. She's on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Check her out. Hashtag boss status and get your life on and let's just do this. Like I said, my name is Alisa J. Green. I'm on a mission to empower 1 million women all over the world by talking to women in one community and connecting them to another community of women, helping them get the word out, do their work, be courageous, take care of themselves, and especially empower and grow her. Dr. Lacrecia, it's been a pleasure. I love you so much. And again, I look forward to reading that book. And I'm closing out because I got to write some stuff now and sip on my water and just reflect on tonight. This was awesome.
Thank you.
This is awesome. So I'm closing out. I love you and have a great evening.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.